We've talked about ego before, but in this episode we're going to cut straight into what ego really is and what it is not. We're going to talk about what ego loves and what ego fears. We'll look at the games it plays to keep you trapped, and I'm obviously going to show you how you can break free. And finally, we will uncover the power that comes the moment you have nothing left to prove. So let's begin with a definition. Your ego is everything you believe to be true about yourself. It is the story you tell yourself about who you are. It is your persona. And persona, from Latin, literally means mask. The mask you created. The mask you wear in public. But masks only exist when there is an audience. So the real question is, who are you when no one is watching? Because there is always a gap between who you think you are and who you really are. You can think you live healthy, but your reality is junk food, soda, and cigarettes. You can think you are generous and kind, but your actions prove you are self-serving. You can think you are disciplined, but you quit at first resistance. And in trading, you can think you are serious, but your behavior is gambling, chasing, and hiding losses. In other words, your ego tells the story, but your actions tell the truth. And this is huge, so I'll say it again. Your ego is the story you tell yourself about yourself. The real you is revealed by your actions, especially when no one is watching. Ego thrives on external proof. It wants to be seen. It wants to be admired, compared, and looked up to. And here's the decisive point. The ego can believe something about itself, but it can never validate itself. It can tell the story, I am a skilled trader, but those words don't feel real until someone or something reflects them back. That's why the market is the perfect stage for ego. Because all you need to do is place a trade and eventually price will move in your favor. And when it does, ego will present it as skill, even if it was just luck. I knew it, I called it, I told you. Because the one thing ego loves more than anything else is being right. Even more than winning, it loves proving correctness. I told you is the very definition of the ego's hunger to be right. The ego is more concerned with how it appears than with how things actually are. It would rather be seen as skilled and consistent than actually be skilled and consistent. It would rather convince strangers on the internet, I told you Nasdaq was going to go up, than quietly profit in silence. But when the trade doesn't play out, ego shifts the blame. They are already changing the algorithm. It will do anything but to admit it was wrong. Because to admit, that would put the belief, I am a skilled trader, in danger. And that's obviously no option for ego. So instead, ego pretends the loss never happened. It feels lucky no one saw it. It hides the mistake. It resets the account. And it rewrites the story. Again and again until it feels validated. And if the market is the perfect stage, then social media is the perfect playground. Because the ego doesn't just want to feel skilled, it wants the world to see it. It wants applause. It wants approval. It wants validation. That's why you see a screenshot of winning trades online. For the traders who post them, every like feels like confirmation of the belief, I am a skilled trader. Comments like, well done, amazing trade, are like honey for the ego. It's all the same hunger, the hunger for external validation. But just as ego thrives on proof, it also fears one thing above all, non-existence. That fear is why it clings so hard, why it pulls you back into noise, performance, and validation, why it insists, I am real, look at me, identify with me. Because the moment you stop feeding it attention, it begins to dissolve. And nothing terrifies the ego more than dissolving. To keep you hooked, ego plays games. The game of approval, chasing likes, chasing applause. The game of comparison, staking yourself against strangers online. The game of being right, holding losers too long, fighting in forums, posting hindsight charts. The game of image, curating how you're seen instead of becoming who you are. And once you start playing these games, you can never win. This is a big life lesson, and I want to invite you to really think about it. When you play ego games, you lose, even if you win. No one has ever truly won an argument. It's a win for the ego, but a hit for the soul. Every time the ego claims victory, your essence takes the blow. That's how the mask sacrifices the self. So how do you break free? You can't get rid of your ego. It will always be there, whispering, insisting, playing its games. But you can stop identifying with it. You can stop feeding it. You can learn its tricks, see them for what they are, and choose differently. You break free by aligning your actions with your true self, your essence, by seeking validation nowhere outside of yourself, by doing things for you, not for applause, not for proof, not for the scoreboard. Every time you act from essence, ego's grip weakens. Its voice grows softer, and the more you align your actions with your essence, the freer you become. Real satisfaction doesn't come from feeding ego. Real satisfaction comes from alignment, from living in a way where your actions reflect your essence. That's the point where you have nothing left to prove, because you have stopped outsourcing your validation. You carry it within you. And when you reach that point, you are untouchable. The crowd can't shake you. The scoreboard can't define you. The mask no longer matters, because you have found the power of having nothing to prove. This was SatoriTrades, and you've been listening to The Edge Within. Until next time, sit still, breathe deep, and trade from clarity.